It'll be interesting to see, with the next group, because they're obviously really different. Like, they don't want big giant houses and all that stuff that, sort of my generation and your generation thought that.
So you think the new generation is different in their values and what they think is important?
Right? They say that they give more, they volunteer more. I think the tricky thing for them is going to be connection and being able to be connected and being able to have real conversation and, even be able to concentrate long enough to be with somebody.
Because of devices?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's far. Could you imagine right now if you were 20?
No.
And being like dating and swiping and trying to pay attention
or even 10. My daughter's one of the few girls in her class that doesn't have a cell phone.
What's the age that do they get them? Like
they've had them since they were like 7.
No, I mean, my kids. Like, what's the rule in your house?
There's a debate right now. We're trying to figure it out.
Well, okay, so you have a 10-year-old going to be 11.
Yeah, I think that they say there's like a movement, wait till 8th. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you heard that?
Yeah, like 10 kids in the class. All the parents agree, so they're not the only person in the class that doesn't have it.
But it's not that way with my daughter's kids, the kids in her class. Most of them have phones. Most parents just give the kid a phone.
Yeah.
And it's just, have you read any of Jonathan Haidt's stuff,
yeah.
The Coddling of the American Mind?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. And that is just so disturbing when you see the amount of, especially young girls that are growing up depressed, cutting themselves, self-harm.
What's that, like 400%, he said, like from 10 to 14 or
something crazy like that.
Like something insane.
Massive spike that directly coincides with the invention of smartphones and social media.
Yeah, the slot machine.
Yeah, it's this thing where people are just trying to get likes and trying to leverage their social status and try to pretend that they're living in a perfect world to everybody around them, and everyone else is doing it, and people look at other people's lives being perfect and they reflect upon their own. They get depressed. There's just so many factors that kids didn't have to deal with just a decade or so ago. It's really,
and it's
really
never
new.
off, right? Nope. Like, at least if I had a hard time at school, I could go home and have a reprieve from it, at least overnight. I think for me, that's been a thing with my kids, is like, especially daughters. I understand the gaming is different for boys and pornography and things like that, and that whole trip of rewiring their brain. But I think with girls, it's like, how do you get them to hear their own voice? I don't know how they're going to get to a place where because it's like this weird mishmash of like Me Too, and then never before have people objectified themselves more because they get that positive affirmation. Like I always say, if I put out really smart ideas, if I'm a young woman, I have 1,000 followers. Every shot is of my butt. I have 10 million followers. So we have this mixed message going on, which is like, I'm angry, me too, treat me equal, simultaneously to, I'm going to objectify myself in the most hardcore way, more than in any time in history,
with spectacular results. And
it's really for me as a female who understands both those sides a little bit. It kind of trips me out because I don't think you like those girls, playing that card and no violence should be done to you. And I agree with all of that. And no is no and all of that. But at a certain point, like you've had Jordan Peterson on here many times. It's like, biological signaling. It's like, play aside at least. And also that one side is super short lived. That's what I try to tell my girls. I'm like, yo, listen, if you're pretty girls, it's great. But if that's the card you're playing, your card's done. Like by the time you're 30, 35, it's done. It's over. And unless you're like 40 and you marry a 7-year-old, I don't know,
or
whatever.
Get into MILF porn.
Is that such a thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, but even that, it's like they got to put a filter on it and like all that stuff. I mean, come on. I mean, you know what I mean? It's like at a certain point, how do you get these girls to go, hey, stand up for yourself, be strong, but like, what are you doing?
But look at all these people that are not doing that are benefiting.
I know, but it's getting them to understand. How do you get a 13-year-old to talk about the long game?
Right.
I mean, everything's immediate, but for me, it's like, it's culturally, I feel like I'm this weird mix of like I came through at the most modern time, like women went to school and on scholarships, and like there was no thought to being like strong, not really. Mm-hmm. But then weirdly, it's like I feel so kind of old fashioned when I see kind of this next thing. Cause I'm like, well, strong for me was something else. Strong was like, you were really physically strong, trying to have a strong mind, you know, strong basis of a person. And then, okay, then there was this other side, like your femininity, your sexuality, all this other stuff. And now it's like, I don't know. It's very interesting.
Well, there's certainly a bunch of different kinds of people, right? And there's going to be people that gravitate towards objectifying themselves. And there's going to be people that gravitate in this day and age towards, you see a lot of people's pages are just filled with motivational quotes and inspirational things and, and stories about people that they meet and photos. And you get a lot of people that are attracted to that kind of stuff too. It's just, you're not going to get the immediate gratification of a picture of your ass. That picture of your ass that gets 100,000 likes, you're like, wow, look at all those likes.
Yeah.
And then, it's just a different vibe. And you have to decide, what are you after? Are you after quantity or quality? You're after, you're trying to accurately express how you feel and work it out through communicating with people and figure out how they react to what you're saying and how you feel about how other people say similar things and how it does good things for you and you want to do good things for them. Or do you just want to have
my butt?
Just a piece of dental floss up the crack of your ass.
Yeah,
sticking it in front of the camera. There's,
No, and I get that. Like, I get also, like, I always say when you're a young woman, you sort of get this new car, and you're like, well, what happens? Like, what if I put my foot on the gas? Like, you're sort of checking it all out. Like, ooh, they respond like this if I do that. Like, that's completely natural. Mm-hmm. But then at a certain point, I don't know that the input is like, like, who do you want to be? And not based on what everyone thinks about you, like what actually turns you on and makes you feel excited and stoked, because, it's great that you have a nice butt, but there's a lot of nice butts, and in the end, that's not probably gonna bring you that other feeling.
The problem is that there's a thrill to positive reactions.
Absolutely.
And that thrill is undeniable.
I would like it. I'm just too old.
and when people get that thrill, and then you tell them, hey, that thrill's bad for you, you're like, fuck off, mom.
No, I mean a bolt on to that message. How about that? Like, get the thrill, but simultaneously to doing the thrill, maybe have some other thoughts about where you like to continue to journey to.
Yeah. But I think when you tell that to a 13-year-old, they hear it eventually.
Yeah.
I think in the beginning, they're like, yeah. I got this. Yeah. And then later when it all goes sideways, like, God damn, I should have listened to mom.
Yeah. I think you just got to be it too, and have some like cool friends that hang around you, because if you're the parent, it's like, okay, you're going to penetrate so much, but if you've got some, like, in Hawaii, they call them aunties. If you got some badass chicks around you and your daughters are looking, they see. Right. They see. But what if you don't have access to that? I have a lot of pretty strong, cool women around me, but not that it concerns me. I don't want to say that. It's just, how do you help the next group, try to be a good example, love on them, but get them to teach them to love on themselves. Right. That's all. And I don't mean with eyelash extensions and like perfect things. I mean like love on yourself. Yeah.
Well, that's the other thing too. There's a distortion of natural beauty, and to, make it so that everything has to be artificial. The color of your lips, the color of your eyeshadow, fake lashes, everything is just this. That doesn't look better. It just looks different.
Do you think, I'm always fascinated what men think. Like, does it even register? Do they know what's going on?
In what way?
Well, I guess we'd have to ask men of that generation if, let's say they had two groups of women, and one that was like perfectly coiffed with the lip injection.
I love that word, coiffed.
And,
it's one of my favorite words.
Is it?
Yeah.
I like that I'm talking about like eyelash extensions with Joe, but like just sort of really done, like ready for the club, let's just say. And then just like a girl like, hi, I'm a sweaty runner, and now I'm going to go to the office and put my hair up in a ponytail. I don't know, whatever. If guys, if they even, can they tell the difference?
Yeah, for sure. Can. Yeah. I mean, it's all what you're into.
What you're into.
Yeah. Some guys just like them soft and made up. Some guys like them sweaty and muscular.
Yeah.
It's different.
No, and I get all that. I love that. I just mean, again, it's hardcore signaling, and I guess that's what it is. Maybe it's the new biology.
Well, it's also that there's never been a time, like I did a bit on one of my Netflix specials where about this girl who's got just pictures of her ass. She had like 9 million followers on Instagram. I'm like, there's never been a person like this before. This is a new kind of person. Like, fuck looking at these frogs in the Amazon that no one's going to see. There's a new kind of person.
Yeah,
this girl just has pictures of her butt, and she's got millions of people staring at her all day long, and every day is just new pictures of her butt.
It's a great point. I always am intrigued how they decide, like, oh, we're going to do the butt on the beach. Now let's do the butt next to the puppy. It's like, I'm so confused how they keep getting ideas. I can't even get ideas for different things. And it's like, I know we'll do butt with the cotton candy. It's like, okay, I don't know. I'm always
butt with
intrigued by
cotton.
that.
I think it becomes an obsession. I mean, I think you have to stay fresh with new butt ideas.
Is that really it? Or do you have like a butt editor?
Butt envelope.
Do you have the butt editor? So what do you do? Hey, what's going on? The head butt editor here at butt.com. I don't know.
But if you have a girl who has, let's say some of these girls have millions and millions of followers and they're making millions of dollars.
I know, they're crushing it.
Yeah.
Maybe they're actually the smartest people in the room and I haven't caught on yet.
It's certainly an easy path to finances.
I know, right?
If you have a great ass and you like working out anyway and you just want to take pictures of it and all of a sudden you have 25 million followers, like, damn.
But this goes also, okay.
What should she do? Quit that job?
No, definitely not. Because then when is she going to say, well, I'll do the right thing and work at the library? I'm not suggesting that. It's just, I mean, if it was my kid, I'd be like, you know, sweetie, you might want to weigh out the economics on this.
Right.
But I think you said something really important. It's a whole new thing.
Yeah.
And I think, however, it's sort of like the communication you're always having, which is, well, what is success? And for me, that's all. It's like getting people, encouraging them, whatever that is, whatever that looks like. You know, you said this, like, oh, you'd do the show whether anyone was listening or not, most likely, right?
Probably.
I mean, until you couldn't afford it anymore, let's just say. But obviously,
I would do it just to have the conversations. I would do it.
Right.
Maybe I wouldn't do it as much, but I would definitely do it.
Right.
If I had, like, if someone said, hey, you know, every few months a physicist will come in here and sit down with you for 3 hours, I'd be like, yeah, let's do it. That's what I want to do.
Yeah, well, you're bringing information to you and learning to you. Yeah. So for you, part of your definition, that's success.
Yeah.
And so I guess that is the conversation, because we always have this thing, this obvious thing of like success is, it either is notoriety, it's power, it's money, and then we forget those other communications about like the pursuit of something that really genuinely turns you on.
Well, I think people get short-sighted, and you definitely can get success where you just have money and you just have objects and you have notoriety, and people will view it as success.
Right.
But if you're not doing what you love, it's not pure success. It's a different kind of success. Like if you really find something that you enjoy doing and then you take that, like Laird has with surfing, or many people have with their passions, and then you become successful through that. It's a different existence because it's a pure existence. Like when I do stand-up comedy, or if I do like commentary for the UFC, it's a pure enthusiasm. Yeah, it's genuine.
That comes across.
I don't have to fake it. I enjoy doing it. That's, to me. I know everybody can't do that. No. Or everybody feels like they can't do that, or they haven't figured out a way to do that yet. Right. But if there's a thing that you can do, like maybe I would have made more money if I went into the stock market. Maybe I would have made more money if I was a banker. Maybe. I don't know. Right. But I definitely wouldn't be as happy. There's no way. If I'm the same person I am now and I was in a fucking office all day making 100 times as much money, I'd be miserable.
Right. And I think that, I guess for me, that's maybe when I see the thing with the girls and, like I said, feeling sensitive to it because I have daughters, or just young people in general, it's that conversation of like, you know, just keeping that definition of success open. And by the way, this other path, that taking it, like following your own instincts or desires or passions, there's elements to that are harder. For sure. It's more unknown. You can feel insecure, like, is this the right thing to do? Sure. I mean, in our house, we've gone through that 50 different times. You know, it's like, I'm going to do this because I really want to. I don't know what's going to happen. Right. And I don't know if it's going to be successful. I might even lose money. Who knows? But that once you start to do it, or you do it once or twice, then you go, oh, but it's so worth trying.